Director Gus Van Sant is here. Over the years, he has crafted both unusual and mainstream films. Here's a look at some of his work.
Do you have any idea what this little bottle's worth?
No, Bob, what's it worth?
This here little bottle, it's got 840 some odd 16ths, and at $10 a 16th, that comes to around $8,400 of the best goddamn pharmaceutical dope money can buy.
What a find. This here little bottle ought to last the three of us a week.
I was planning a change. There was a time when I had the need to learn from you, my former and psychedelic teacher. And although I love you more dearly than my dead father, I have to turn away. Now that I have, and until I change back, don't come near me.
Excitement of meeting you must have upset his chemical balance or something, because, my dear, you are so stunning.
Don't be afraid of us, sissy. Come on.
Oh, I've never ridden in a cab before. The whole idea of paying for a ride just makes my thumbs hurt.
That is so interesting, but don't worry, dear. It's not nearly as bad as it sounds. Would you just take a nice seat in the back?
I believe that Mr. Gorbachev, you know, the man who ran Russia for so long, I believe that he would still be in power today if he'd done what so many people suggested and had that big purple thing taken off his forehead. I firmly believe that. Someday I hope to interview him and we would discuss that along with other more pertinent international things.
And I hate to think about it. She needs me. It's not as if she were a maniac or a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
Get away! Get away! I can't believe you had tickets in that f***ing game! Yeah. Did you rush the field?
No, I didn't rush the f***ing field. I wasn't there.
What?
No, I was in a bar having a drink with my future wife.
You missed Pudge Fist's home run?
Oh, yeah.
To have a f***ing drink with some lady you never met?
Yeah, but you should have seen her. She was a stunner.
I don't care if...
Oh, no, she lit up the room.
I don't care if Helena Troy walks into the room. That's game 6. Oh, my...
This year's winner of a big prize at Cannes was his latest film, Elephant. Elvis Mitchell of the New York Times calls it unusual and remarkable. Here is the trailer for Elephant.
Mom's gonna kill you. What? What are you doing? Dad, I'm driving. Get out of the car, Dad. Hey, Eli. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
This is not going to do it. These long pants. Everybody else is wearing shorts. What's the matter?
I don't want to talk about it.
He's so cute.
So cute.
He has a girlfriend? Mm-hmm. Since when? You didn't know that? No, I didn't.
Okay.
Good question. What they do is they will sit up in this higher energy state.
Where are you riding?
Oh, this?
Yeah.
It's my plan.
For what?
Oh, you'll see. What are you doing? Just get down. Don't come back. Hey, sir, don't go in. Sir, don't go in there. Don't trust me. Just don't go in there, please.
What's wrong?
Nothing.
You're crying.
Yeah.
Is something bad?
Joining me now is Gus Van Sant. Also here, the executive producer of this film, Diane Keaton. Welcome. It's great to have both of you here.
Thank you.
Where did this start?
Okay.
Okay.
You go, Gus.
It started as a response, I think, to all the news about Columbine being being the sort of largest school shooting. Before then, there had been other instances, but Columbine sort of devastated everyone, and the press was covering it so widely that I thought that there was a place for a dramatic investigation into...
To do what?
to look into
Other than to
the same.
entertain.
Probably, I think entertainment was sort of like not the thought, and I'm not sure that any of my films are like designed as an entertainment. They're designed to be curiosities, and they're always like investigating something that you're sort of not supposed to be investigating dramatically. But I thought that drama could do something that maybe the journalists couldn't necessarily get at. It could get someplace that the journalists wanted to, but it was difficult for them to get at. I mean, I think also it acts as a song about such an event, an opera of sorts.
It is also just it seems to me, it is a film about what's going on in high schools throughout America. It's trying to come to grips with what are the passions and the emotions and the conflicts and the troubles of so many people who don't go to the length of Columbine or to murder.
I personally love the film for a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons that I really love it is because it isn't hammering me on the head with a message.
Right.
And I'm so sick of it. And I'm so sick of these quick-paced sort of like, and telling you all the time what you're supposed to think. This movie gave me an opportunity as an audience member to just sit there and listen. And it's so important to listen, and I think it's an underprivileged art. I think we don't do it enough, and I think that this forces you to ask your own questions, to take a look at what you think, as opposed to what somebody else is telling you.
So you want this movie to make people think?
Totally, I think it does. I think it does. I think it's unavoidable when you're watching it, and I also think it's something that everybody should see, should be forced to see. I really do, because it's such an alternative to everything else. And I love everything else just as well in terms of entertainment, but this is really not exactly what I would call an entertainment.
Okay, but I always say that entertainment other than entertainment, because it's always, people, if you want people to think, you want lots of people to think. You don't want nobody to be at the theater so they can think.
I totally agree with that.
So there has to be a component of something that's compelling that people want to come see.
No question about it, Charlie. No question about it. And when you're looking at this, like right now, looking at the trailer, which is the first time I've seen the trailer, right. I'm also struck by how dazzlingly beautiful it is. It's like it's lyric. It's so gorgeous. And Harris Savides, who is just like,
he's your cinematographer.
He's the cinematographer. He is great. Thing looks gorgeous.
How did you get involved?
That's a good question.
Here?
Let's figure that out now.
Let's go there.
You're the hookup.
You're the money person?
I'm the man.
She's the banker? She wears the pants?
We made the calls. Let's put it that way.
Did you really? Say, hello, this is Diane Keaton. I need some money because I'm going to make a great movie.
I did. I made those calls.
And I got Gus Van Sant. It's going to be
Listen, let me tell you something. I didn't quite have Gus Van Sant. That was my problem. For 4.5 years, I was chasing Gus Van Sant.
4.5 years?
Yeah. This took a long time to make.
So what was your problem?
You tell us why you're so hard to get.
Why are you playing hard to get?
The initiation of the project was, we went to, you brought me into HBO. And,
I did.
And the project was initiated on a script level, and then you have to always go to the next level 2, which is making the movie. Yeah. And that's always a jump. I think in our case it was a jump because I was going through
a change
cinematically. I was trying to think of ways to handle my filmmaking so that it did something different than some of the earlier films had done, stylistically. And so I was looking at this subject and looking at the script that we had by J.T. Leroy.
Yeah, but okay, what the stylistic thing you had early on was the kind of a cinema verite, kind of real, gritty feeling about it.
Yeah, but along with that, I think the style was basically rooted in an American cinematic style where you're often creating the film in the cutting room. You're covering a scene, and you're allowed to take lines out and put lines in later in the cutting room. I was trying to get out of that habit and do things right on the set so that there was no turning back.
And yet, if you noticed, it also did not have the feel at all of an improvised movie.
Yeah.
It was very graceful, and it was silent, and yet sometimes when they did speak, it was so appreciated because it was like this little insight into kind of the behavior of kids at school and what their lives are like and where the depth of the problem is.
You had the property, the idea.
I had the idea with Bill Robinson, my partner. Yes.
Okay,
we
and
did.
you, without embarrassing him, why?
But
did
let me
you-
just tell you, it was a broad-based idea that I think everybody had. It was sort of like one of those things that it's a no-brainer.
Oh, I
Do you
see.
know?
There was a
Do
whole
you know
bunch of
what I mean?
filmmakers who
Yeah,
wanted to do
everybody's
something
sitting
about
around
what's
in a
going on
room.
in high school.
Yeah, exactly, especially at that particular time. And so then my agent, you know, John Burnham, who was also Gus's agent at that
Oh,
time,
well,
put
there
us
you go.
together, and there you have it in a nutshell. I mean, because all my life, you know, I've wanted to work with Gus Van Sant. Are you kidding? And so it was
Why?
just this. Why?
Why?
Well, let's just figure that out.
No, I mean, but
No.
because he had a certain sensibility or an
Because I
aesthetic
think he's
that you liked?
absolutely, I mean, yeah, there's no question about that he's a great artist, absolutely, hands down, and that it would be an honor to work with him, and also an opportunity to learn something. And also, if you're an actor, which in this case I wasn't, give me a break. I mean, they're
Well,
few
I'll give
and
you
far
a break.
between.
I'll give you a break, but you've been wanting to direct too.
Sure, look, I'm happy to be part of this
I know.
whole community in every possible way.
So that's a fair appraisal of where you are in your head.
That's right.
You just want to be a part of the process. If it's
I do.
executive producing, it's okay with you. If it's directing, it's okay with you. If it's acting, it's okay with you.
Yeah.
It depends on whether
what it is, and if it's something that I feel that I have any, you know, look, in this case, it was just really to support Gus. It's to get him. It was to get him.
Yeah.
And it was to
took you 4
support
years
him.
to get him.
It took a long time to get him.
All right. Roll tape. Here it is. Here's the scene from the film.
Hey,
How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
How do you think?
That good, huh?
You had a casting call, and you had like 3,000 high school kids show up?
1,500.
1,500.
High school kids
Give or
showed
take,
up in
1,500.
Portland, Oregon. And yeah, we basically did our best to just take their pictures because we had like 2 cameras and there were a lot of kids, and we took their pictures and talked to some of them, and then we called the ones that we liked back.
Looking for what? A look?
We were looking for a high school cast because at the time we decided we were going to throw the script out the window, and
her script, you
which
throw
we
out
did.
the window.
Yeah, and we threw it out, and the first step I thought was like, wonder if we have actors in Portland that can actually do it, and looked in real high school, real high schools with real high school kids, and most of them came to this big casting call, and you know, they were great. They were amazing, had amazing abilities, and we gave them improv tests and just to see if they could hold up in front of a camera. It was 1 out of 10 were really like fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
Now the style is almost, I mean, it's like the camera, it's almost a kind of reality thing where the camera's just following him as he's walking in, and what's that about? Was there
well,
some deliberate style here that you thought was
yeah,
appropriate for this?
I mean, that was part of the style that I was talking about earlier, where I was trying to get away from some of the conventions that we have in cinema, like the following camera, I think, is a way to connect where he is coming from and where he's going to. I mean, generally we cut from the football field, which is where Nathan's coming from, and we cut to the office, which is where he's going to, and we don't ever see how he got there.
Right.
Even though in our lives, none of us really goes anywhere without actually journeying there.
That's right. So you wanted to show the journey.
We wanted to show the journey as a way to include, you know, his real life in what we were watching. Since all of us, you know, things happen to us when we go from the Charlie Rose show to our next engagement, our dinner.
Right.
And things happen along the way, and so we wanted to have things happen along his way as well.
And is that's scripted or improvisational or both?
It was, I mean, the original run-throughs were improv, and then we, you know, sort of like decided what we liked, and then we shot those things, and we kind of cemented it a little bit.
Now, there are executive producers and there are executive producers. Now, what are you doing all this time?
You mean when Gus was making the movie?
Yes, ma'am.
I was shooting a television movie
Oh, I
in
see.
Winnipeg.
So you executive produced this, got
Here's
it going.
what I did. I got it going, and then I said, Gus, I mean, I think that's the smart thing to do.
Yeah.
I wish I had been around, though. I actually do wish that I had been, because I think that it would have been fascinating to watch how they made this movie. Because it is really, you know, it's a very definite diversion from the usual, and also it's very different from any other improv movie that I've ever seen, because mainly you get a bunch of actors in a room, and let me tell you, you know, you can't shut them up. I mean, the difference between this and a Cassavetes movie, you know, is astonishing. I mean, those are great. Don't get me wrong. But this is very, very much more structured, and like Gus said, it's more like music.
Would you like to be a studio executive like Sherry Lansing or Stacey Snider?
I would love it.
Would you really?
Of course I would.
Would you really? You're serious, aren't you?
I'm totally serious.
You would like that?
I would love it.
Because you would like to, you love movies so much, and the idea of having some power
I
where
would
you
like
could...
to be able to say yes and no to movies, and pick which director I trust and have faith in, and have something to do with what the message is. And I mean, of course I would fail. Because I'm sure that I would not be picking the movies that would make the money, and because, you know, you have to make money. And
it's
I'm
harder
sure
than
that
it looks, too.
It's
right?
hard, and those, yeah, it really is. It's very difficult, because I know them slightly, you know, most of the gals, and I respect them enormously, and it's very stressful. That part of it I wouldn't like, but I would love the idea of, you know, being able to choose.
Or for a week, like a guest.
Like a guest,
executive.
like a guest editor at Vogue, exactly. That's it. That's what I would love to do.
You could be a guest executive.
Yeah, I would love that.
Call up Sherry and say,
Sure.
I'm coming. Don't come and work for the next month. I'm coming in for you.
That's
Just
right.
stay at home and play with Billy.
That's right, exactly.
In
And
some
play with
ways,
Billy, yeah, exactly.
Executive producers are guest executives because they, you know, the head of the studio is giving you the trust and letting you have your project.
And the whole thing was about faith in Gus. I mean, Colin Callender,
Right.
who's the president
HBO.
at HBO, yeah, of the motion picture
He's
department
a great
there.
person. It's obvious, right?
Yeah, I mean, he really knew what he was doing in this
He
case.
also, I mean...
Risky.
I don't have anything to do with them, but I mean, I know them. But these guys are really interesting in terms of the HBO Films aspect of it. I mean, forget The Sopranos and all that stuff.
Well, it was his idea, actually. It was his idea to put the movie immediately into the Cannes Film Festival. That was his idea. That's smart.
He had another movie that just came through here, too, which I've forgotten about.
Oh, really?
That came under the same... You know what
really?
it was? I can't remember.
There were a lot of them last
really?
year. Oh, yeah.
That they released his films first and sent to Cannes?
American Splendor, probably.
That's exactly what it was. American Splendor. Very good. A wonderful movie. Didn't you love that movie?
They were also
I
at
haven't seen
Cannes.
it
Oh.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
I thought it was wonderful. Roll tape. This is another scene. This is where Eli takes a picture of John. Watch it. His camera's in his hand.
Hey, Eli.
Hey, what's up, John?
How's it going?
Pretty good. What are you doing? Just taking pictures. Can I take a picture of you?
Yeah, sure. Hair anymore? Good.
Nice.
All right, hey, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Hey, you going to the concert tonight?
No, I can't. My parents are being bitches this week.
Oh, that's what's wrong.
Yeah.
Now, what do you want them to come out of this film thinking about high school?
In my opinion, what I think they will do is ask themselves questions.
What's going on?
About what is going on, and also I think listen. The key thing for me about this movie is that it begs you to listen. In
To
the
listen
silence,
to
listen to the silence, because there's nothing there. Like when you're listening to these kids talk, there is no talk of violence. There's no like message about the pain. And yet it's all there. It's the elephant in the room.
Right,
And this
yeah,
is a
that's
very
the idea,
apt
right.
name for this title for this movie. It's everything we avoid in ourselves. We all have this dark, you know, quality in all of us. There's this violence in all of us in some place. And the more that you're able to talk about it, I just think it begs discussion, and that's what this movie does, is it allows us to ask these questions that usually when we go, we just sit at these movies and we let them tell us. Now it's our turn to think, to listen, to ponder, to sit with it for a while. That's what I think.
I assume the title has to do with the sort of the proverb about, you know, the elephant. How you see the elephant depends on what part of them you touch.
Right, the unseen, like what exactly is the cause of violence. There are so many different ways to look at it, and so many. And the proverb of the blind man touching the elephant, one thinks it's a wall, one thinks it's a tree, it has the leg, one thinks it's a snake because it has hold of the tail.
Yeah, right. In putting it together, you ended up with a totally new script, which was different how than the one you've been given.
Well,
more improvisational and sort of the...
Yeah, the original script had a lot of dialogue. There was, first we assembled a cast of characters, which, you know, was my fantasy of what a high school cast would look like. Meaning there was one guy who was going to be the jock, one guy who was the photographer, one guy who was the blonde-haired kid, one guy who was the girl who didn't want to wear short pants in gym class, which was actually a J.T. Leroy.
That was based on me.
You didn't want to wear short pants in
Look
gym?
at me.
Yeah, you're all covered up.
And
Right.
we had one character sort of like for each like identifiable high school characters, and then I went and over a couple weeks wrote an outline of how these characters sort of play into like a high school, what they're doing before this onslaught, before two of the other characters come with guns to wreak havoc in their high school. So it was basically just an outline. It did relate in the sense to the earlier script in the sense that it had sort of a myriad of different characters.
So I come to you and I say, okay, you've made this movie, and you've explored these ideas. What do you know now you didn't know when you started this exploration of these questions?
Well, the things that I learn are usually coming out of either things people respond to when they see the movie, or new thoughts that I have as I'm watching the movie, because the movie's somewhat acting as a like thinking machine, or almost a kaleidoscope or a Rorschach, where you're seeing something and other things come out of it within the picture.
Yeah. I really did learn that I have to stop talking. And I have to listen. I have to really make a bigger effort in the listening department. Yeah, really, in everyday life, because I can't help but open my mouth, obviously, as you can tell.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm glad you found him and got him after 4 years to make this movie.
I am. I'm proud.
That I found you as well.
Thank you, Gus.
But thank both of you for
Thank you. It was really lovely. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. See you next time.